the smell of penny sweets in paper bags, the clink of glass bottles in wooden crates, the squeak of those corner shop doors with the bell that always stuck. If any of that just transported you back 30 years, you're in the right place. Over the next 2 hours, we're documenting every crisp, every drink, every chocolate bar, and every jar sweet that vanished from British corner shops. Some disappeared overnight, others faded so gradually we didn't notice until they were gone. 70 plus items, the complete archive. Sit back, relax, and get ready for a trip down memory lane. If you walked into your local corner shop in 1985, you'd find drinks that literally don't exist anymore. Not rebranded, not reformulated, gone. Erased from existence like they never happened. The luminous green Quattro that tasted like the future. The Panda Pops that cost 5 pence and turned your tongue blue. The Corona man who delivered fizzy drinks to your door like a carbonated milkman. Here's what nobody talks about. These drinks didn't just fail. Number 3 had us voluntarily burning our tongues for fun. Number 9 had Pamela Anderson's curves moulded into the bottle. And number 1? Number 1 can never ever be forgotten. These are 15 British drinks that vanished from corner shops. And number 7 was destroyed by its own parent company. Those of us who remember when corner shops had character, when 50 pence made you rich, when choosing your fizzy drink was a tribal declaration, this one's for you. Number 15, Tab Clear, the Kamikaze Cola, February 1993. Woolworths, the drinks aisle. A silver can catches your eye. Tab Clear. The 8th wonder of the world, the adverts promised. A cola that looked like lemonade. 23 pence for something that would last precisely 5 months on British shelves. Remember that first sip, that medicinal hit, like Coke that had given up on life. The way it fizzed differently, smaller bubbles, sharper on the tongue. But here's the shocking truth. Coca-Cola never wanted you to know. Tab Clear was designed to fail. They called it a kamikaze product internally. Its only purpose? To damage Crystal Pepsi by association, to make all clear colas seem wrong. Those of us who convinced our parents to buy it, usually just once, we were unknowing participants in one of the dirtiest corporate warfare tactics of the 1990s. By autumn 1993, both clear colas had vanished from British shops. Mission accomplished. What they took from us wasn't just a weird drink. They took away the idea that cola could be anything other than brown, that experimentation could succeed. But Tab Clear was sophisticated compared to what's coming at number 14. This next one trained an entire generation how to pretend to be adults. Number 14, Shandy Bass. That distinctive white can with the red triangle. The sweet, bitter taste that was neither lemonade nor beer, but something more complex. Something that marked a transition. Shandy Bass. For 46 years, from 1972 to 2018, this was how British teenagers learned what beer might taste like. Just 0.5% alcohol, legally sellable to children, but psychologically it was so much more. 25 pence in 1985 would get you that can from the corner shop. The gentleman behind the counter wouldn't even question it. Your dad might even buy it for you, a father-son moment over something that felt grown up, but wasn't. If you were northern working class and born between 1970 and 1990, you know exactly what Shandy Bass meant. Summer holidays in Skegness, non-league football on Saturday afternoons, that first taste of independence. When Britvic killed it in 2018, they didn't just discontinue a drink, they ended a rite of passage. Today's teenagers will never know that perfect halfway house between childhood and adulthood. The craft beer revolution made pre-mixed shandy seem unsophisticated, but we knew better, didn't we? But while we were pretending to be grown-ups with Shandy Bass, the Americans had a different idea. What if children could drink their sweets? Number 13, Hubba Bubba Soda, liquid bubble gum. Toys R Us, your special Saturday trip for being good all week. There it was. Shocking pink liquid in a can covered with bubble graphics. Hubba Bubba Soda. 40 pence for the privilege of drinking liquid bubble gum. Actually drinking it. The same flavour as the gum you'd blow bubbles with until your jaw ached. The first sip was always a shock. It tasted exactly like liquefied bubble gum. Not bubblegum flavoured, not hints of bubblegum. It was as if someone had melted down a whole packet of Hubba Bubba and carbonated it. The Americans lasted 4 years with this madness. We, British? We never quite knew what to make of it. Too American, too artificial, too much. But those of us who tried it, we remember, some called it liquid diabetes, others the most amazing drink ever created. There was no middle ground with Hubba Bubba soda. When it vanished in 1992, nobody really mourned it. But now, those empty cans sell for £30 on eBay. Funny how memory works, isn't it? Speaking of memory, number 12 will transport you straight back to Saturday morning cinema. And yes, that advert is exactly as problematic as you remember. Number 12, Kia Ora, too orangey for crows. We all adore a Kia Ora. If that jingle just played in your head, in that specific voice with that specific tune, congratulations. You're properly British and properly of a certain age, 116 years. That's how long Kia Ora existed, from 1903 to 2019. But for us, it was the 1980s that mattered. Those clear plastic cartons at the cinema, 30 pence for orange so bright it could guide ships to shore. The way you'd puncture the silver foil with that tiny straw. The first hit of sweetness, so intense it made your molars ache. The way it left an orange film on your tongue that lasted through the entire film. But it was that advert, too orangey for crows, that burned into our collective consciousness. Those animated crows with their catchphrase. Looking back now, those adverts were, let's just say, they were very much of their time. Different era, different standards. Peter Kay referenced it in Phoenix Nights. That's how deep Kia Ora ran in British culture. Deeper than Coca-Cola ever could, when Coca-Cola confirmed via Twitter, that they discontinued it in 2019, a part of British cinema history died. The multiplex experience will never smell quite the same. But these discontinued drinks, they're just the beginning, because what's coming next proves we'll literally drink anything if the advertising's good enough. Number 11, Cresta. It's frothy man! Picture this, a polar bear in sunglasses, shouting Rimsky-Korsakov. If that makes perfect sense to you, then you remember Cresta. Launched in the early 1970s by Schweppes, Cresta wasn't just fizzy, it was frothy, actually frothy. The first versions contained real milk, which caused absolute chaos in production. Imagine milk in a fizzy drink in the 1970s, before proper refrigeration in corner shops. The bear, voiced by the same Canadian who did the Honey Monster, made drinking Cresta seem like the coolest thing possible. It's frothy, man! Became playground currency. But here's what nobody talks about. Cresta was awful, genuinely terrible. Even 40 years later, when YouTube personality Ashens found an old bottle and tried it, he nearly threw up. The strawberry tasted like sweetened paint stripper. The pineapple could strip wallpaper. We drank it because a cartoon bear told us to. We begged our mums for it because advertising worked. And when it disappeared in the early 1990s, nobody actually missed the taste. What we missed was believing a bear in sunglasses could make us cool. Speaking of trying to be cool, number 10 was literally designed to make children feel like adults. Number 10, Top Deck, playing at grown-ups. If you were a British teenager in the 1980s, working class, probably northern, you'll know exactly what I'm about to describe. Top Deck, the shandy that wasn't. Silver cans that cost 35 pence from the offie. The taste of beer without the alcohol. The drink that made you feel 18 when you were 12. That first sip. Sweeter than real shandy. Less complex than actual beer, but somehow exactly right for that moment in your life. You drink it at the youth club disco, at the social club with your dad, outside the chip shop on Friday nights. Top Deck occupied this bizarre space in British culture. Too adult for children's parties, too childish for pubs. It existed in that liminal space of British adolescence. Comprehensive school discos, first kisses behind the bike sheds, nascent independence. When Britvic quietly discontinued it after buying Corona in 1987, they killed something unique. There's literally nothing like it now. Alcohol-free beer is for adults. Soft drinks are for children. That bridge between worlds? Gone. Those silver cans taught us how to pretend to be grown up. But some drinks didn't just want to help us pretend. Number 9 wanted to start an actual revolution. Number 9, Virgin Cola, the rebellion. We're at number 9 of 15 vanished drinks. And this one? This one we actually had a chance with. 1994. Richard Branson drives a tank through Times Square. Pamela Anderson's curves, moulded into a bottle shape. Virgin Cola, taking on the big boys. For a brief shining moment, we actually did it. Virgin Cola outsold both Coke and Pepsi in British supermarkets. 65 pence a bottle for the chance to support the underdog. The cola appeared on Friends, on Buffy. Little old Britain was teaching America about choice. It tasted fine. Maybe slightly sweeter than Coke, maybe slightly flatter, but that wasn't the point, was it? Every sip felt like supporting your local team against Manchester United. Every purchase was choosing David over Goliath, but Coca-Cola doesn't lose. They never lose. Systematic retaliation, exclusive retailer deals that locked Virgin out, aggressive pricing that made Virgin Cola unprofitable. By 2009, those Pammy bottles were being cleared from ASDA for 25 pence each. Branson's billions couldn't beat Big Cola. The last Virgin Cola production ended in Bangladesh in 2014. Even the British underdog story gets outsourced in the end. Those Pammy bottles sell for £50 on eBay now. We're literally buying back our failed dreams, one overpriced bottle at a time. We're halfway through our countdown, and you've probably noticed something. These aren't just drinks that failed, these are drinks that were murdered. But number 8? Number 8 was loved to death by the very people trying to protect us from it. Number 8. Panda Pops. Democratic Fizz. 5 pence, that's all. 5 pence in 1985 for a Panda Pop from the corner shop. The most democratic drink in British history. No child was too poor for a Panda Pop. That tiny plastic bottle with the panda face, filled with liquid that existed in colours nature never intended. Blue cola, green cherryade, red something. The way the plastic bottle would go soft in your hand from the warmth. The pathetic little fizz when you opened it. More suggestion than reality. The immediate sugar hit that could power you through double maths. The inevitable tongue staining that marked you as a Panda Pop kid. School discos weren't school discos without warm Panda Pops on trestle tables. 10 pence each because the PTA needed fundraising. Your mum giving you 50 pence and telling you that covered entry and 5 drinks. Budget management training via fizzy drinks. They created a Princess Diana memorial flavour. Think about that. They memorialised the people's princess in budget fizzy drink form. You couldn't make it up. Jamie Oliver killed Panda Pops. Not personally, but his crusade against childhood obesity made them unsustainable. 2011. After 35 years, despite generating nearly £3 million in their final year, a 2020 Scottish Sun poll voted Panda Pops the drink people most wanted back, because nostalgia doesn't care about your teeth. Number 7. Quattro, the future that never was number 7. This is the one that was murdered by its own parent company. Coca-Cola creates something luminous green, so green it glowed under blacklights. So green parents thought it was radioactive. Gone by 1989. Quattro. 4 fruits, 4 coloured squares on the can, marketed like we were living in Blade Runner, and Coca-Cola killed it on purpose. The colour was supernatural, kryptonite green, toxic waste green. The kind of green that made parents suspicious. It contained pineapple, orange, passion fruit and grapefruit, but it tasted like none of them, and all of them simultaneously. But here's what you actually wanted: the electronic Quattro cards, given away in Smash Hits magazine. High-tech collectibles when ATMs were still space age. Those cards were playground currency. They were power. Quattro failed because lilt existed. Simple as that. Why drink radioactive-looking tropical when normal tropical was right there? Coca-Cola pulled it after 7 years. but those who drank it still describe it in almost mystical terms. Tropical paradise, some say. Fruity, washing up liquid, say others. The South Americans got a completely different grapefruit Quattro in 1996. We got memories of green liquid and electronic cards. I know which I'd rather have. Right? If you're still watching, you're proper British. You get it? These next 5 drinks, they're not just beverages, they're the death of British culture itself. And I'm not being dramatic. Number 6. 5 Alive, the healthy lie. Mums, remember this? That royal blue carton that made you feel like you were giving your kids something healthy. 5 Alive. 5 citrus fruits. Orange, lemon, grapefruit, tangerine and lime. Arrived in 1981, seemed so sophisticated. The 250 milliliter cartons, perfect for lunchboxes. 30 pence from the school canteen. It was basically liquid sugar with vitamin C. But in 1985, that counted as healthy. No fizz meant it was good for you, right? That first taste, aggressively citrus, tongue-curlingly sharp, then suddenly sweet. The way it coated your mouth with this slightly synthetic citrus film. The carton straw that always bent at the worst angle. Coca-Cola killed their own child. 1994, they launch Fruitopia. Cooler name, psychedelic marketing, same market. 5 Alive never stood a chance against its own sibling. 2011, they tried to bring it back with a Dancing Dodo campaign. A dancing dodo for an extinct drink. You can't make this stuff up. Now it's £40 for a case from Canadian importers, £40 for the memory of when fruit juice came in cartons. And we believed everything with fruit in it was healthy. But if 5 Alive was pretending to be healthy, number 5 didn't even try to hide its madness. Number 5, Tizer Ice, the menthol mistake. A G-bar puts menthol in a soft drink. Actual menthol, like cigarettes but for children. Tizer Ice, clear red liquid that made your mouth cold, regardless of temperature. Freeze your head, the adverts promised. They weren't lying. That first sip was genuinely shocking. The menthol hit your sinuses first, then your throat. It was like drinking Vicks Vapor Rub mixed with Cherryade. Your mouth went numb. Your throat felt frozen. It was medicinal and recreational simultaneously. This was peak cool Britannia madness. The Spice Girls were conquering America. Tony Blair was playing guitar, and we were drinking mentholated soft drinks because why not? No drink in British history divided opinion more sharply. You either loved that Arctic blast, or you thought AG Bar had lost their minds. No middle ground, no casual drinkers. You were Team Tizer Ice or you were wrong. 3 years. That's all it lasted. 1998 to 2001. The exact lifespan of our national confidence. When Tizer Ice died, so did the idea that British drinks companies could out-weird the Americans. The next 4 drinks? They weren't just products. They were entire cultures that vanished with them. Number 4. Creamola Foam. Scotland's secret weapon. If you're Scottish, you're already salivating. If you're not, you're about to learn why Scotland nearly declared independence over a tin of crystals. Creamola Foam. Effervescent crystals in a small metal tin. Mix with water, watch it foam up like a witch's potion. Drink the result. Experience paradise. The ritual was everything. The tss as you opened the tin. The smell. Artificial fruit so intense it cleared your sinuses. Pouring the crystals, watching them dance in water. That first sip of foam, actually foam, that tickled your nose and burned your throat simultaneously. We ate it dry, straight from the tin. Pour crystals on your tongue and feel them explode. Chemical burns be damned. This was living. 15 pence a tin in 1985. Raspberry, orange, lemon, cola. The tins had cartoon children that looked possessed. We loved them. 1998. Nestlé kills Creamola Foam. The Scottish Parliament, the actual Scottish Parliament, debates motions to bring it back. That's how deep this ran in Scottish culture. 2019. Someone recreates it. £4.49 per tin now. We're paying 30 times the original price for the memory of burning our tongues. And it's worth every penny. but at least you can still buy Creamola foam. Number 3, this entire way of life is gone forever. Number 3, Corona, the fallen empire. 200 red and gold vans every morning across 87 depots nationwide. The Corona man was coming. This wasn't just delivery, this was relationship. The Corona man knew your mum wanted dandelion and burdock. Your dad liked limeade. You were allowed one cherryade on Saturdays if you'd been good. Those knobby glass bottles, the satisfying clink as he carried the crate. The 3p deposit that taught us recycling before it had a name. The anticipation as you heard his van 3 streets away. Every bubble's past its physical. Even typing it, I can hear the jingle. 70 million bottles a year in the 1940s. A Welsh company from Porth Rhondda that conquered Britain door by door. This was community retail. This was trust. This was British. 1987. Britvic buys Corona, closes the Porth factory, ends door-to-door delivery. By the late 1990s, Corona exists only in memory. We lost more than a drink. We lost the last connection between corporation and community. The Corona man was the final bridge between us and them. Now it's all supermarkets and self-checkout. Progress, they called it. But while Corona died quietly, number 2 left us with something we'll never forget. In fact, you already know it better than Mozart. Number 2, Mbongo, the Congo connection. Way down deep in the middle of the Congo, a hippo took an apricot, a guava, and a mango. 32% of Britons can recall that jingle. Only 20% remember Mozart. Mbongo wasn't a drink, it was a phenomenon. 9 tropical fruits in a 200 milliliter carton. Perfect for lunch boxes. Sold in 5 packs for the school week. Your entire week's hydration sorted for under £2. That first puncture of the carton. The immediate smell of artificial tropical paradise. The way it turned your tongue orange for hours. The strange pulpy bits that definitely weren't real fruit, but you pretended they were. New regulations force reformulation. They remove the artificial flavouring that made it magic. 2017, parent company dissolves. Bongo seems dead. Iceland brings it back exclusively, but it's not the same. It can't be. The chemicals that made our childhood are illegal now. That jingle still plays in our heads. The hippo and python still dance. But the drink they're selling, that's not Mbongo. That's just tropical juice in nostalgic packaging. We're buying memories, not beverages, which brings us to number 1, and I need to warn you, this one hurts. Number 1, Lucozade. When medicine became marketing. The number 1 Vanish drink wasn't killed by competition or health regulations. It was murdered by its own success. That glass bottle wrapped in yellow cellophane, the one your mum only bought when you were properly poorly. Lucozade. For 90 years, from 1927 to 2017, this was British medicine that didn't come from a pharmacy. You knew you were properly ill when you saw that yellow wrapping appear on your bedside table, the heavy glass bottle, the way the cellophane crinkled when Mum unwrapped it. That first sip, sweet, slightly syrupy, somehow exactly what your poorly throat needed. It tasted of being looked after. Lucozade wasn't a drink. It was love in a bottle. It was your mum's hand on your forehead. It was permission to stay off school. It was daytime telly and toast cut into soldiers. It was being poorly but safe. The smell alone, that distinctive medicinal sweetness. Nothing else smelled like Lucozade. It smelled like recovery, like care, like someone worrying about you enough to go to the shops specially. Then everything changed. 1983, Daley Thompson. Suddenly, Lucozade wasn't for poorly people. It was for athletes. The yellow cellophane disappeared, the glass bottles became plastic. The medicine became an energy drink. They replaced glucose with artificial sweeteners. They added caffeine. They created Lucozade Sport, Lucozade Energy, Lucozade Zero. They turned our childhood medicine into just another energy drink fighting for gym goers' pocket money. The original Lucozade, the poorly drink, the love drink, the medicine that wasn't medicine, that's gone. You can buy something called Lucozade Original, but it's not. It's not wrapped in yellow cellophane. It doesn't come in glass. It doesn't taste of being 7 years old with tonsillitis while your mum strokes your hair. They took the drink that meant someone cares about you and turned it into push yourself harder. They took love and turned it into marketing. That's what we really lost. Not just 15 drinks. We lost the idea that companies could care, that products could mean more than profit, that a bottle of glucose syrup could be a hug from your mum when you needed it most. So here's my question for you. Which one did I miss? Which discontinued drink still haunts your memories? Drop it in the comments below. Share this with someone who'll remember. Because if we don't keep these memories alive, who will? Cadbury's Fuse, 40 million sold, gone. Spira, used it as a straw in your tea, deleted. Texan bar, broke your teeth, discontinued twice. 20 chocolate bars that every British kid bought with pocket money. That lived in every corner shop from Glasgow to Brighton. That defined whether your week was good or pants based on what your mum brought home from Tesco. And they murdered every single one. Not because we stopped buying them. The secret bar, still profitable. The Fuse, selling millions. The marble, created for the actual queen. They killed them anyway. And I've got the receipts. Right then. 20 chocolates, starting with the one that vanished without explanation. Number 20. The Banjo. 1976. Mars looked at Kit Kat and thought, we can do better. 2 wafer fingers, chopped peanuts between the layers, that distinctive snap when you broke them apart. The blue wrapper with yellow text that caught your eye at the swimming pool vending machine. 8 pence in 1980. Your mum probably had one in her handbag for emergencies. That peanut cream filling that stuck to your teeth in the best way possible. The TV advert with the country music. Banjo is real special. Banjo is brand new. Except it wasn't special enough. By 1985, gone. Mars won't say why, just gone. There's a Facebook group with 3,000 people begging for its return. Mars ignores every single message. The Maverick Bar, 1997. This is the ghost chocolate. Mars made it. We know that. It appeared in selection boxes. We know that. But try finding anyone who remembers exactly what it tasted like. Cookie base, caramel layer, chocolate coating. Or was it nougat? Even the wrapper? Blue and silver, or was it black? Nobody can agree. It lasted maybe 2 years, maybe less. Mars deleted it so thoroughly that there's barely any evidence it existed. No advertisements, no promotional material, just confused memories and a few wrapper collectors asking, did I imagine this? The Maverick, the chocolate bar that Mars wants you to forget. Number 18 should still exist. The Golden Cup. Macintoshes created liquid gold in 1970. Actual runny caramel that would drip down your chin if you weren't careful. That moment when your teeth broke through the chocolate and the caramel flooded your mouth. 3 pence in 1973, 5 pence by 1980. Your nan kept them in the sideboard for special visitors. It survived Rowntree buying Macintosh. It survived Nestlé buying Rowntree. 30 years of corporate takeovers couldn't kill it. Then the year 2000 arrived. Nestlé looked at 30 years of success and said, nah, no explanation, no farewell, just empty shelves where golden cups used to live. Close your eyes. You're 10 years old, walking into the corner shop after school. Mrs. Patel behind the counter. That smell of newspapers mixed with penny sweets. The chocolate shelf at child eye level. And there, between the marathons and the curly whirlies, vice versas. The chocolate that lied to your mouth. White chocolate hiding in brown sugar coating. Milk chocolate disguised in white coating. Every single one was a tiny betrayal of expectations, and we loved it. 1991. Nestlé thought they were clever. like minstrels that went to university. That satisfying crunch when you bit through the shell. The way you'd try to guess which was which before eating. They discontinued them. Brought them back in 2004 after 10,000 people complained. Killed them again. Brought them back in 2012. Killed them again. It's like Nestlé enjoys torturing us. High cost of production, they said. While selling Smarties for £3 a tube, number 16, Mars created a countdown to disappointment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 layers, 5 different textures. Wafer, fondant, Rice Krispie, caramel, chocolate. It was engineering, it was architecture, it was absolutely mental. Lasted 8 months. 8 months! Mars couldn't even give it a year. Every bite was chaos. The fondant would leak. The Rice Krispies would fall out. The caramel would stick to the wrapper. It was a beautiful disaster. The factory workers probably celebrated when they stopped making it. 5 layers in the 1980s with 1980s technology. Mars was having a laugh. But for those 8 months, British children experienced chocolate anarchy. And we'll never forgive Mars for taking it away. Old Jamaica, the chocolate your dad hid from you. Dark chocolate, rum-flavoured raisins, Cadbury, making something for adults when children had pocket money to spend. The gold wrapper that meant, "This isn't for you, kiddo." 1970 to the late 80s. 2 decades of adults having something special, those raisins that actually tasted of rum, even though there was no alcohol, the way the dark chocolate melted differently on your tongue. Then Whisper arrived. Fuse appeared. Suddenly everything had to be for teenagers. Old Jamaica was too sophisticated, too mature, too good for this world. They brought it back in 2020. £1 for a bar. £1 for chocolate that used to cost 12 pence. And people still bought it because that's how much we missed it. The next one they discontinued because someone died. Actually died. And Cadbury covered it up. I'm joking, but the real reason is almost worse. Pyramid. Terry's built an actual pyramid of chocolate, filled with mint, in a pyramid-shaped box. The 1980s were wild. 50 pence when a Mars bar cost 15. You had to want a pyramid. That moment when you bit the top off and the green mint fondant oozed out. The way chocolate shards would fly everywhere. Your mum shouting about the mess. Mummies and daddies love 'em, the advert said, while showing an actual mummy. In a pyramid. Marketing genius or fever dream? Both. 1988 to 1995. 7 years of geometric chocolate madness. Then Terry's realised triangular chocolate was too complicated. The same company that makes chocolate oranges, spherical chocolate, you have to smash on a table. The hypocrisy burns more than the mint. Drifter survived until 2018. 2018. There are children who remember drifters. 2 fingers of wafer and caramel brilliance. That satisfying snap when you broke them apart. The way the caramel would stretch if you pulled slowly. The chocolate that somehow tasted better than regular chocolate. Nestlé made 90 million of these a year. McDonald's put them in McFlurries. They were everywhere. Big, chewy, satisfying. You couldn't rush it if you wanted to. Then, October 2018. Low consumer demand, Nestlé claimed. 90 million bars a year wasn't enough demand. They stopped making them to focus on what? Another Kit Kat flavour, matcha green tea, wasabi Kit Kat. The Drifter, proof that survival of the fittest doesn't apply to chocolate. Cadbury's Amazing Raisin. No chocolate, just raisins and magic. Cadbury looked at fruit and said this could be confectionery. Rum and raisin flavour with 0 alcohol. So chewy it could remove fillings. 5 pence and a dental appointment. It's amazing what raisins can do. Cockney kids sang in the adverts. That purple and gold wrapper with the price printed right on it, when chocolate companies weren't embarrassed about their prices. It lasted until 1978. 7 years of pretending raisins were candy. 7 years of disappointed children expecting chocolate and getting fruit. 7 years of absolute madness. The Amazing Raisin, Cadbury's first war crime against chocolate. But honestly, even talking about these makes me 8 years old again. Saturday morning. 50 pence burning a hole in my pocket. Standing in front of that chocolate shelf for 10 minutes, like it was the biggest decision of my life. Because it was. But these next 5, these are the ones that hurt. The ones where Cadbury and Mars and Nestlé looked at our happiness and chose profits. The Nutty Bar had no chocolate, and it was perfect. Rowntree's in the early 70s. A tube of fudge, covered in caramel, absolutely encrusted with peanuts. Like someone dropped fudge in a peanut factory explosion. That crinkly cellophane wrapper that sounded like fire when you opened it. The way peanuts would fall everywhere. The impossibility of eating it in a car. Your dad swearing as peanuts rolled under the brake pedal. You can't see the fudge for the nuts. Actual slogan. Kenny Everett doing adverts about how it couldn't stand up straight because it was round. Mid-1980s, gone. Rowntree's gave up. Too messy, too weird, too good for this cruel world. There are people who haven't eaten peanuts since 1985 because nothing compares to the nutty. Number 10. Cabana. The chocolate that took you on holiday. Coconut, cherries, caramel, chocolate, the 4 C's of paradise. That blue wrapper with the sunset that promised escape from British drizzle. 18 pence in 1983. The price of a mini break in your mouth. Those chunks of cherry that surprised you. The coconut that transported you to beaches you'd never see because your family holidayed in Skegness. The TV advert with Deo playing. Harry Belafonte selling chocolate bars. The 80s were unhinged. Early 90s discontinued. Over 1,000 people signed petitions, handwritten petitions, pre-internet begging. Rowntree's didn't care. Someone on Etsy makes replicas now. £30 for 6 bars. £30. That's how much we miss Cabana. Whisper Mint. The betrayal that still stings. Cadbury had conquered aerated chocolate. Whisper was king. Then they added mint. Not just a hint, a proper layer of mint that hit you after the chocolate melted. That green wrapper that stood out in every shop. The way the bubbles made the mint taste colder. The texture that nobody could replicate. Discontinued. 2007, they brought back regular Whisper after Facebook campaigns. Hundreds of thousands begging. Whisper returned triumphant. But Whisper Mint? No plans to return Whisper Mint. They had the moulds. They had the recipe. They had the demand. They chose cruelty. 20 years later, we're still asking why. Cadbury's still pretending it never existed. This next one. Number 8. I need you to prepare yourself, because what Cadbury did with number 8 should be illegal. The Spira was perfect. Perfect. 2 hollow spiral tubes of Cadbury chocolate. No filling needed. Just chocolate and air and genius, the most satisfying snap in confectionery history. The way you could drink tea through them. An actual chocolate straw. 1985 to 2005. 20 years of perfection. Children learning physics through chocolate. How is it hollow? How do they make the spiral? Questions that mattered. That purple wrapper that rustled like no other wrapper. The way you'd bite the ends off and pretend it was a telescope. The chocolate dust that would form inside the spirals. Discontinued. Replaced by twirl. Twirl. Like replacing a Ferrari with a bicycle. Same company. Completely different experience. 35,000 Facebook followers beg for its return. 2024, Cadbury finally responded, no plans to bring back Spira. They kept Time Out, they kept Twirl, they kept Flake. But the Spira, the king of textured chocolate, had to die. The Spira, murdered by its inferior cousin. Number 7, the secret bar. And the actual secret that Nestlé buried. A chocolate bar with a bird's nest texture outside, creamy mousse inside, like a walnut whip that went to finishing school. That gold wrapper that whispered elegance. The TV advert, a 1940s train, a mysterious woman. You can't trust anyone to keep a secret. Marketing gold. But here's what they don't tell you. The secret bar was too expensive to make. That bird's nest texture required special machines. That mousse needed refrigeration, others didn't. Discontinued, but Nestlé kept the machines, kept the recipe, used the same technique for aero bubbles in 2005, the same mousse in Quality Street. They could make secret bars tomorrow. The Facebook groups know it, the petitions know it, Nestlé knows it. The secret? It's not that they can't make it, it's that they won't, because secret buyers would stop buying their other chocolates. The secret bar killed because it was too good. Dream? Cadbury's white chocolate that wasn't garbage. Real cocoa butter. Not the vegetable oil nonsense in Milky Bar. Actual proper white chocolate that melted on your tongue like silk. That purple and cream wrapper that promised sophistication, marketed to 25 to 34-year-old women, because apparently only young professional women deserved good white chocolate. The rest of us could suffer with Milky Bar. It was in Coronation Street. The animated chocolate street had dream houses. The commitment, mid-2000s, gone. Poor performance, Cadbury claimed. While selling millions in Australia, still available in Australia right now, Australians eating our dream bars. They kept making dairy milk Oreo. They invented dairy milk with dime. But Dream, pure, simple, perfect white chocolate, had to die. The Dream. Too good for Britain, apparently. 5 left. 5 chocolates that didn't just disappear. They took pieces of Britain with them. The Aztec bar tried to kill the Mars bar and nearly succeeded. Cadbury's nuclear weapon, nougat and caramel, deliberately priced half a penny cheaper than Mars, that purple wrapper with the white logo that meant war. The TV adverts filmed at actual Aztec temples, 3 to 5 minutes long in cinemas. When chocolate advertisements were events. Cardboard Aztec warriors in supermarkets. The commitment was insane. A feast of a bar. It was. Bigger than Mars. Better than Mars. Cheaper than Mars. Discontinued. 11 years of battle. Mars survived. Aztec didn't. But here's what Cadbury won't admit. Aztec was winning. Market share growing. Sales increasing. Then Mars released Galaxy. Cadbury panicked, killed Aztec to fund other projects. The Aztec, executed by its own company. The Texan bar could break your teeth, and we loved it for that. Mars created concentrated evil, nougat and toffee so chewy, children lost milk teeth, adults cracked molars, dentists bought yachts. Sure is a mighty chew, understatement of the century. That gold wrapper with the stars and stripes. The cowboy on TV, escaping firing squads because he was still chewing. Texan takes time a-chewin', while Mexicans shot at him. Winter Texans were weapons. Frozen solid, could hammer nails with them. Teachers confiscated them as dangerous items. Discontinued. 2004 survey, Britain's favourite ever sweet. 2005, brought back for 6 months. 6 months, like showing a starving person food, then taking it away. The Texan, so dangerous it had to die twice. Number 3, the Fuse. The chocolate that was too successful to live. Cadbury spent £10 million launching this, the biggest confectionery launch in British history. Peanuts, raisins, cereal, fudge, caramel, chocolate, everything in one bar. 40 million sold in the first week. 40 million. Shops couldn't stock enough. Children fought over them. Adults hoarded them. It was chocolate pandemonium. That yellow and purple wrapper you'd recognise from space. The way every bite was different. Sometimes nutty, sometimes fruity, sometimes crunchy. Always perfect, discontinued. Here's what Cadbury claims. Changing consumer preferences. Here's the truth. Fuse was cannibalising their other bars. People stopped buying dairy milk, stopped buying fruit and nut, stopped buying everything else. So they killed it, murdered their most successful launch because it was too successful. Still available in India. Indians enjoying our Fuse bars while we suffer. The Fuse, executed for excellence. The snowflake. White chocolate flake. Should still exist? Doesn't. Because of a wedding, Cadbury created alchemy. Flaky white chocolate that dissolved on your tongue like sweet snow. That polar bear on the wrapper, the mess that was somehow whiter than regular flake crumbs. Anthea Turner's wedding. £300,000 deal with OK magazine. The bride and groom casually eating snowflakes in wedding photos. The scandal, the outrage, the death of chocolate innocence. The product placement controversy destroyed Snowflake's reputation. The chocolate that did nothing wrong except exist at the wrong wedding. Discontinued, Australia still has them. Australia, they ship them to Covent Garden for £15 a bar. £15. Cadbury claims it was market performance. But we know the wedding killed it. Anthea Turner killed the snowflake. The snowflake, murdered by celebrity endorsement. Number 1. The chocolate bar that proves they hate us. The one that shows their contempt. The one that broke Britain's heart. Cadbury's Marble, the most beautiful chocolate bar ever made. Milk chocolate and dream white chocolate swirled together like actual marble. Art you could eat, that thick, chunky snap. The way the two chocolates complemented perfectly. Created for the Queen's Golden Jubilee. Royal chocolate, the wrapper that belonged in museums, the bar that belonged in heaven. Every bite was a journey, sometimes more milk, sometimes more white. Always perfection, the texture, the melt, the beauty. 5 years, that's all we got. 5 years of edible art, Cadbury's excuse. White chocolate falling out of fashion. 2012, Cadbury releases Dairy Milk Oreo, white filling. 2015, Cadbury releases Marvellous Creations, white chocolate pieces. 2020, Cadbury releases Dairy Milk buttons with white chocolate. White chocolate didn't fall out of fashion. Marble was just too good, too pure, too perfect for the garbage future of chocolate-flavoured candy coating and palm oil. The marble, the Mona Lisa of chocolate, destroyed by corporate cowardice. They could make every single one of these tomorrow. The recipes exist, the machines exist, the demand exists, but they won't, because they don't care about what we want. They care about profit margins and manufacturing simplicity and selling us the same 4 chocolates in different wrappers. These 20 chocolates didn't just disappear, they were executed, and we're expected to forget they existed. Which one did you love? Which one did I miss? Which discontinued chocolate haunts your dreams? Comment below. Share this with someone who remembers, someone who understands, someone who knows that chocolate used to mean something. Until next time, keep those memories alive. Because the graveyard of British beverages is deeper than you think, behind those beaded curtains, past the out-of-date crisps, there were drinks so perfectly wrong, so beautifully doomed, they couldn't possibly survive the 21st century. These are 5 more British drinks that vanished from corner shops. And number 2 literally turned a child orange on national television. Number 5, McDonald's root beer. The Medicine Incident. November 1974. Woolwich, South London. McDonald's arrives in Britain. You queue for 40 minutes. Finally reach the counter. Big Mac meal with root beer, please. 40 pence for what would become the most complained about drink in British fast food history. That first sip. Your brain scrambles for reference points. TCP, Germaline, deep heat, Victory Vive. Lozenges dissolved in Coke. This isn't a drink, it's medicine that's escaped from boots. 18 years. 18 years. McDonald's persisted with root beer in Britain. From 1974 to 1992, they kept serving what we unanimously described as liquid antiseptic. I found documented cases, actual written complaints, of parents convinced their children had been poisoned. One mother in Birmingham caused a partial evacuation in 1981, certain the drinks machine was contaminated with cleaning fluid. A father in Manchester demanded the manager taste it himself to prove it wasn't Dettol. The sassafras, the wintergreen, the bark extracts. Every element that makes Americans nostalgic made British people gag. It triggered something primal in our palates. This is medicine, do not swallow. But McDonald's wouldn't surrender. They tried everything. Renamed it sarsaparilla in some locations. Mixed it with Coke to create root beer floats. Gave it away free with Happy Meals. One desperate manager in Glasgow started warning customers, it's meant to taste like that. Nothing worked. When Coca-Cola signed their exclusive deal in the late 80s, root beer was the first casualty. The managers probably threw a party. Today, £3.50 for imported A and W. Still tastes like Germaline. Still makes us gag. Some things are cultural, not chemical. But at least root beer was honest about being American. Number 4 pretended to be tropical, while being made in Chelmsford. Number 4. Lilt, the totally tropical betrayal. Close your eyes. It's 1987. Tomorrow's People just finished. The Lilt advert comes on. Here comes the Lilt man. That milkman on a beach float, that steel drum soundtrack, that promise of Caribbean sunshine for 35 pence from Sing's Corner Shop. 48 years, from 1975 to 2023. Lilt wasn't just a drink, it was British multiculturalism in a can. We couldn't afford Barbados, but we could drink the totally tropical taste. The Lilt ladies. Remember them? Blanche Williams and Hazel Palmer in the 1990s, chatting about everything while selling pineapple and grapefruit fizz. Pure comedy gold. You couldn't make those adverts now, but in 1991 they were appointment viewing. £15.6 million in 2022. Not massive, but loyal. Reliable, like that mate who's always been there. Then Valentine's Day 2023. Coca-Cola announces Lilt is becoming Fanta, pineapple and grapefruit. Same liquid, identical recipe, different name. They literally killed a 48-year-old brand to tidy up spreadsheets. 282 million, that's Fanta's value. They didn't need Lilt, they just wanted fewer SKUs. The social media explosion was volcanic. First marathon, now Lilt. Is nothing sacred. Corporate vandalism. But here's the real tragedy. Lilt was ours. Only sold in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Gibraltar, and weirdly the Seychelles. It was specifically British tropical. Now it's just another Fanta. You can buy the exact same liquid today, but it's not Lilt, is it? It's like your childhood home, with different wallpaper, same walls, different soul. Speaking of lost souls, number 3 tried to improve perfection and paid the price. Number 3, Iron Brew 32, betraying the Tartan army. 2006. A G-bar executives look at Red Bull's success and think, Iron Brew's made from girders. Girders are strong, energy drink. Iron Brew 32, dead within months. The fastest failure in Scottish drink history. You need to understand, Iron Brew isn't just a drink in Scotland, it's liquid identity. Hangover cure, national symbol, birthright. Made from girders isn't marketing, it's scripture. So when Bar announced an energy drink version, Scotland responded like you'd suggested, improving whiskey by adding Red Bull. The can was wrong. Silver and orange instead of blue and orange. Like seeing your granny in a tracksuit. Technically possible, fundamentally disturbing. The taste? Imagine Iron Brew, mixed with battery acid and betrayal. The original's perfect sweet metallic balance, destroyed by caffeine, taurine, and corporate ambition. But here's what really killed it. Iron Brew already was an energy drink. Every Scot knows it cures hangovers, provides strength for football, and makes you invincible to English mockery. It didn't need improving. It was already perfect. £1.20, more than regular brew. For something nobody asked for, nobody wanted, nobody mourned, less than a year. Launched to liquidation. Corner shops sent back unopened cases. The only Scottish drink to fail in Scotland. Today, collectors pay £50 for unopened cans, not from nostalgia, from novelty. Look at this stupid thing that existed. A G-bar learned their lesson. Never mess with perfection. Never betray the brigade. Never, ever suggest Iron Brew needs improving. But if Iron Brew 32 was blasphemy, number 2 was abuse. Number 2, Sunny Delight, the Orange Child Scandal. December 1999. A 4-year-old girl from Rhyl, Wales is on the news. Her skin is bright orange. She'd been drinking Sunny Delight, 1.5 litres, every single day. This is how an empire falls. April 1998. Sunny Delight launches in Britain with a £10 million blitz. Within months, it's the third biggest soft drink after Coke and Pepsi. £160 million annually. The 12th best-selling grocery product in the entire country. The marketing was genius. Position it with real juice in the chiller. Make parents think it's healthy. That TV ad with kids choosing Sunny D over purple stuff. California Sunshine for 50 pence a bottle. But it was 95% water and sugar, 5% juice. 5%. The rest? High fructose corn syrup, vegetable oil, and beta-carotene, the stuff that makes carrots orange. Then comes December 1999, the girl from Wales. Carotenemia, her skin cells literally filled with orange pigment. And the timing, Sunny Delight's Christmas advert is running. Snowmen drinking Sunny D and turning orange. The visual parallel between the ad and the child. Catastrophic. Sales halved by 2001. Parents turned violent at the mere mention. Sunny Delight, that's the one that turns kids orange, became playground gospel. They tried everything. Rebranded as Sunny D in 2003, new formula with 70% fruit juice in 2009, back to 15% in 2010. Reduced sugar, added vitamins, changed the bottles. Nothing worked. British parents have long memories. We never forgave Sunny Delight. It still exists technically, but it's like seeing your school bully at a reunion, and they want to be friends now. The power's gone, the fear's been replaced by bewilderment, which brings us to number 1. The drink that didn't just fail, it destroyed everything it touched. Number 1. Hooper's Hooch. The Alcopop Apocalypse, 1995. Bass Brewery creates alcoholic lemonade in 7 weeks. 7 weeks to invent a category that would destroy them. Hooper's Hooch, the drink that changed everything, then vanished like it never existed. 2.5 million bottles a week by 1997. 70% of the Alcopop market. Those green bottles with ring pulls in every corner shop, every off-license, every pub. But success was its death sentence. The cartoon lemon on the bottle, that cheerful, child-friendly cartoon lemon. By 1996, government research revealed concerning statistics about underage access to Alcopops. The Daily Express ran front pages, "Ban these drinks now." The Advertising Standards Authority banned Hooch TV ads for appealing to minors. The Portman Group forced removal of the cartoon lemon. Ken Clarke, the Chancellor, created a specific Alcopop tax, 10 to 15% extra. Co-op banned them. Iceland banned them. Wetherspoons banned them. Bass spent £8 million desperately rebranding. Refreshment that deserves respect. New bottles. Adult imagery. But you can't unring that bell. By 1998, Bacardi Breezer had taken over. Hooch sales collapsed 30%. The drink that created the category was losing to its own children. But here's the real tragedy. Bass Brewery, founded 1777, the Red Triangle, literally the UK's first registered trademark. The world's largest brewery at its peak, and Hooch's failure contributed to its downfall. 2000, Bass sells its entire brewing business to Belgian giant Interbrew for $2 billion. Over 2 centuries of British brewing history ended. Hooch wasn't the only reason, but it was the symbol, the bet that failed. 2003, Hooch disappears from shelves. No announcement, no farewell, just empty spaces where green bottles used to be. Those of us aged 45 to 75 now, we were in the target demographic when it launched. Young enough to try it, old enough to watch the panic. We witnessed alcoholic lemonade become acceptable, then watched it contribute to its creator's downfall. They tried bringing it back in 2012. Hired Keith Lemon in 2016. Banned again for appealing to children. Some sins are never forgiven. 5 more drinks. 5 more pieces of evidence that corner shops used to matter. From root beer's medical taste to Hoochie's corporate suicide, these aren't just failed products. They're the exact moments when Britain changed. When we stopped trusting marketing. When we started reading labels. When corner shops became Tesco Metros. We didn't just lose drinks. We lost innocence. The belief that companies knew best, that new meant better, that progress was always good. So here's my question. What killed your corner shop? What was the last interesting drink you found there before they all became identical? Drop it in the comments. Share this with someone who will remember. Because these aren't just drinks that vanished. They're proof that we once lived in a more interesting country. The drinks are gone, the memories remain, but barely. If you walked into your local corner shop in 1985, you'd find crisps that literally don't exist anymore. Not rebranded, not reformulated, gone. Deleted from history like they never happened. But here's what nobody talks about. These weren't market failures. Number 7 was deliberately destroyed by its own parent company. Number 5 caused tabloid hysteria about corrupting children. And number 1? When it died, the Northeast nearly rioted. These are 10 British crisps that vanished from corner shops. And number 3 started as a joke, but ended up making £3.6 million. Number 10. Piglets, the hollow bacon pigs. Right, we're starting at number 10 with something that shouldn't have worked, but absolutely did. Piglets, actual 3-dimensional pig-shaped crisps, not flat, not ridged. Hollow pigs that you could hold up to the light and see through. 20 pence in 1985 from the corner shop. That distinctive yellow packet with cartoon pigs that looked slightly demented. Burton's biscuits made them from potato flour dough, rolled and cut into pig shapes, then deep fried until they puffed up into these hollow, crunchy miracles. The challenge was finding an intact pig in your bag. Most were broken, legs missing, heads crushed. But when you found a perfect one, that was winning. You'd save it till last. Show your mates. Some absolute legends would collect perfect pigs in their pencil cases. The flavour was bacon, obviously. What else would a pig-shaped crisp taste like? Though there are people, and they'll fight you about this, who swear blind there was a bacon and bean flavour. 30 years later, they're still arguing about it on forums. One person on Facebook remembered their mum buying them an entire box from the cash and carry. A whole box. Imagine the power. You'd be playground royalty with a box of piglets. Burton's brought back fish and chips in 2014 after customer campaigns. But piglets, still gone. Despite petitions, despite Facebook groups, despite people calling them the crisps of my dreams. They vanished because they were too hard to make. Too many broken pigs. Too much waste. Capitalism has no room for whimsy. But at least piglets were meant for children. Number 9, that was meant for grown-ups, but we nicked them anyway. Number 9, Brannigan's. The pub. Crisp that burned. Brannigan's. Just saying the name makes my sinuses remember. Those thick, ridged crisps that came in brown paper bags like they were too dangerous for normal packaging. Roast beef and mustard that could clear a blocked nose from 3 feet away. Ham and pickle that made your saliva glands actually hurt from the sourness. 40 pence from the offie. You weren't supposed to have them. They were pub crisps. Adult crisps. The kind your dad brought home from the working men's club on Friday nights. That first bite was violence. The ridges scraped your mouth. The flavouring attacked your tongue. The mustard, and I need you to understand, this wasn't normal mustard flavouring. This was concentrated English mustard essence that burned its way down your throat. We loved them because they hurt. KP discontinued Brannigan's in September 2020. Said there was declining demand. Declining demand. There are 3 separate petitions to bring them back. People on Reddit call them the single best crisp to have ever graced this planet. When they switched from brown paper bags to foil packets around 2000, fans knew something had shifted. The crisps were the same, but the experience wasn't. Sometimes packaging is the product. What we lost wasn't just intense flavour. We lost the idea that crisps could be genuinely challenging. That snacks could hurt you, and that was the point. Number 8, hurt in a different way. It corrupted the entire country. Number 8. Horror bags. The X-rated snacks. October 1974. Your local Woolworths. The crisp aisle. There they are. Black packets with horror movie graphics. Smith's horror bags. And the Daily Mail is furious. X certificate snacks inappropriate for children. The headlines screamed, which obviously made every child in Britain desperate for them. 5 different shapes, each more deranged than the last. Fangs. Cheese and onion vampire teeth you could actually wear in your mouth. Bones. Salt and vinegar skeleton pieces. Claws. Bacon-flavoured monster claws. RIBS. Vampire vinegar. That sounded like a spell. And bats. Bat burger. Beef flavour that arrived in 1978 like a greatest hits album. These weren't just crisps. They were toys. They were props. You could wear the fangs and chase your sister. Build a skeleton from the bones. Use the claws for monster impressions. Frank Thornton. Yes, Captain Peacock from Are You Being Served played Dracula in the TV adverts. Peak 1970s Britain. A sitcom star selling horror snacks to children. £4 million. That's what horror bags were generating at their peak. £4 million in 1970s money. From crisps shaped like horror props. By 1979, they'd vanished. No explanation, no farewell tour, just gone. Like they'd been exorcised from British shops. The tabloid panic probably helped kill them. Parents' groups, moral guardians, the same people who thought Dungeons and Dragons was satanic. They couldn't handle crisps that let children play with death. Multiple petitions exist today begging for their return. Middle-aged adults desperately wanting to wear cheese and onion vampire fangs again will never get them back. Too weird, too problematic, too much fun for modern Britain. Speaking of problematic, number 7 proves we'll literally do anything if it's marketed right. Number 7. Outer Spacers. The Star Wars. Generation's Weakness, 1977. Star Wars changes everything, and KP Snacks sees an opportunity. Outer Spacers. Crispy corn snacks for cosmonauts. The packets promised 5 pence, half the price of a comic. Perfect pocket money purchase. But here's the genius. Different shapes for different flavours. Letter A, shapes for beef burger. Rings for pickled onion space stations. Crosses for chutney-flavoured starships. You weren't just eating crisps. You were consuming the space age. The beef ones turned your fingers orange. Proper orange. The kind that wouldn't wash off. You'd go to school the next day still branded as an Outer Spacers kid. Then it got weird. Early 1980s, they become alien spacers. Sigay, Sputnik-style cartoon aliens on the packets. Colours that didn't exist in nature. The chutney crosses now came in nuclear yellow. The pickled onion rings in toxic green. The promotions were insane. Star Wars fighter kites for 95 pence and 3 empty packets. Giant space posters showing the solar system mixed with Doctor Who, Star Trek and Dan Dare. They were teaching us astronomy through corn snacks. By 1987, they'd morphed into Space Raiders. Same company, same concept, but something essential was lost. The innocence. The belief that space-themed snacks could transport us to the future. One fan wrote, "Whatever that E number was, it had my number." Perfect. We knew they were destroying us, and we didn't care. But some crisps weren't trying to destroy us. They were just trying to belong. Number 6 was different. Number 6. Fish and chips. Seaside nostalgia in a bag. Burton's fish and chips. The snack that was exactly what it said it was. Fish-shaped pieces, chip-shaped pieces, salt and vinegar flavouring, wrapped in newspaper print packaging, like proper chips from the seafront. 30 pence for a bag of pure British Seaside, even in landlocked Birmingham in February. These weren't potato crisps. They were savoury biscuit snacks, but that didn't matter. When you opened that packet, you could smell Blackpool. You could hear seagulls. You could feel sand in your shoes that wasn't there. Better than the real thing, people said. And on a rainy Tuesday after school, they were right. Then they vanished. Years passed, people forgot. Until Facebook happened. Suddenly, everyone was sharing memories of fish and chips. The campaigns started, the petitions. Burton's was bombarded. And here's the beautiful bit. Burton's actually listened. January 2014. Fish and chips return. Same newspaper packaging, same shapes, same flavour that tastes like childhood seaside holidays that were probably terrible, but memory has made perfect. You can buy them right now. Today. ASDA. Iceland. The corner shop if you're lucky. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes, we win one back from the past. But for every fish and chips resurrection, there's a cautionary tale. Number 5 shows what happens when you mess with perfection. Number 5, Monster Munch, the shrinking tragedy. I need to be careful here. Monster Munch still exists. But what exists now isn't Monster Munch. It's a tribute act, a shadow, a lie. 1977, Smiths launches The Prime Monster. A pun so bad it was brilliant. 1978, it becomes Monster Munch. The biggest snack pennies can buy. And they meant it. These things were huge. Original flavours that mattered. Roast beef with the pink monster. Pickled onion with the yellow monster. The flavour so strong it was basically chemical warfare. Cheese and onion that brought whole new meaning to cheesy feet. 2 different shapes. The monster paw we still have, and a circular thing with bumps for eyes and a tongue hanging out that looked like it was having a stroke. Pure 1970s nightmare fuel. We loved them. Then Walkers took over in 1995 and they destroyed everything. They shrank them. By more than half, they changed the recipe. They switched from frying to baking. They turned our monsters into mice. The outcry was immediate. Letters to newspapers, complaints to the BBC. This was before social media. People had to actually write physical letters about crisp size. That's how much it mattered. 2008, Walkers tries to make amends. Mega Monster Munch, they call them. Original size, original style packaging, but they're still baked, still wrong, still not the tongue-burning, roof-of-mouth destroying weapons we remember. The yellow pickled onion monster was called Zook. The pink roast beef one was called Chewbacca, until Lucasfilm's lawyers got involved. These are the things that mattered to us. Monster Munch exists, but our Monster Munch, that died in 1995. Sometimes the saddest losses are the ones that pretend they're still here. Number 4 wasn't pretending anything, it was exactly what it claimed to be. Number 4, hedgehog flavour. Crisps, the illegal joke. The Vaults pub in Welshpool, Wales. Landlord Philip Lewis has had a few pints and makes a joke about hedgehog-flavoured crisps. Then he actually makes them. This is real. This happened. A Welsh publican created hedgehog flavour crisps based on tales of gypsies baking hedgehogs in clay. No actual hedgehogs were harmed. It was pork fat and herbs. But the cartoon hedgehog on the packet suggested otherwise. Here's where it gets properly mental. 1982. The Office of Fair Trading sues him under the Trade Descriptions Act. The government suing a man over joke crisps. The settlement was incredible. Lewis had to interview actual gypsies about what hedgehog really tasted like. He had to commission Wolverhampton Polytechnic to create authentic hedgehog flavouring. He had to change the name from hedgehog flavoured to hedgehog flavour. That one letter U apparently made it legal. By 1991, they're turning over £3.6 million. Million. From a pub joke about hedgehogs. The hedgehog tokens were genius. Collect 20, they donate to the British Hedgehog Preservation Society. You're eating hedgehog crisps to save actual hedgehogs. You couldn't make it up. Philip Lewis died in 2017. The crisps had been gone since 1994, but people still ask for them, still Google them, still want to eat crisps that taste like something they've never tasted because someone told them it tastes like pork fat and herbs. That's the power of a good story, even if it's completely mad. Speaking of mad, number 3 trained an entire generation in capitalism. Number 3, XL Crisps, Lancashire's cheese weapon. If you lived in the Northwest in the 1980s, you know exactly what I'm about to say. XL Crisps, the cheesiest cheese crisps ever created. Light green packet, made in Great Harwood, Lancashire. And they were perfect. Not good, not great. Perfect. That cheese flavour was violent. Aggressive, it attacked your mouth and took no prisoners. Other cheese and onion crisps tasted like someone had whispered the word cheese near a potato. XL cheese tasted like someone had punched you with a block of mature cheddar. Rishi Crisps made them. Family company. Actual people making actual crisps in an actual factory you could drive past. This was before everything was owned by 3 companies pretending to be 30. They had beef barbecue. They had Bovril. Yes, Bovril flavoured crisps. But it was the cheese that mattered. Always the cheese. 1986. The Great Harwood factory closes. Apparently, there were contract issues over potato quality that destroyed the M&S relationship. 30 years of crisp making ended because someone wanted to save 3 pence per kilo. Golden Wonder owns the XL brand now. You can still find them in Cumbria, some pubs in Carlisle, parts of the Lake District, but it's not the same. It's heritage touring. It's historical reenactment. The real XL crisps died with that factory. What exists now is just the echo. But at least 40 tried to survive. Number 2 was murdered in broad daylight. Number 2, Tudor, the Northeast's identity. We're nearly there, number 2. And this one's personal if you're from the Northeast. Tudor crisps. For 40 years, this wasn't just a snack in Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough. This was identity. This was belonging. This was us versus them. 2/3. That's the market share Tudor had in the Northeast and Scotland. 2/3. Walkers could get in the bin. Golden Wonder could do one. Tudor was ours. The flavours were absolutely mental. Ready? Deep breath. Kipper. Kipper flavoured crisps in purple packets with cartoon fish. Gammon and pineapple, like having Sunday dinner in crisp form. Hot dog and mustard. Mint sauce. Mint sauce. Brown sauce. Just brown sauce. Chocolate, which everyone agrees was absolutely revolting. Sweet and sour. Spring onion that actually tasted of spring onions. And savoury vinegar in blue and yellow packets. So acidic it could strip paint. So strong it made your cheeks touch in the middle. So perfect that 30 years later, people still dream about it. The TV adverts were art. 1970s, Geordie Paperboy bribed with a canny bag of Tudor. 1980s, same actor, now rich, driving a Rolls Royce, still eating Tudor. The character aged with us. He was us. Walker's kills Tudor, just kills it. 40 years of history, gone. The Peterlee factory limped on until 2017, making Walker's crisps in the building that built Tudor. Like making your murdered friend's family cook dinner for their killer. Online petitions, Facebook campaigns, Chronicle letter pages full of rage. Nothing. Walker's doesn't care, PepsiCo doesn't care, 50-year-old Tudor packets still turn up during beach cleans, packets from 1973 still intact. They'll outlast Walker's, they'll outlast all of us. Tudor wasn't just crisps, Tudor was the Northeast winning something, and now, number 1. Number 1. Smith's Crisps, the original and best. Number 1. The vanished crisp that started everything and ended with betrayal. Smith's Crisps. With the little blue salt bag. If you don't know about the little blue salt bag, you don't know about British crisps. This was ritual, this was ceremony, this was the original and best. Frank Smith starts making crisps in his garage in Cricklewood, invents the crisp packet, changes Britain forever, but salt makes crisps go soggy, so he includes it separately. In a little blue twisted paper sachet. Genius. Opening a packet of Smith's was archaeology. You'd dig through the crisps, hunting for that blue treasure. Sometimes it was at the bottom, sometimes wrapped around a crisp like a gift, sometimes disaster, missing entirely. Finding the salt bag was winning. You had choice, power. Salt them all. Salt none and eat the bag separately like the absolute maverick you were. Salt half and give the rest to your sister who you actually quite liked that day. This was democracy in action. This was freedom. The crisps themselves were perfect. Thicker than modern crisps, irregular, some burnt, some folded, some giant mutants you'd save till last. They tasted of actual potato. Mad concept now? Smith's owned British crisps. They invented the cheese and onion flavour. They created the first prawn cocktail. They made crisps what crisps became. Then, 1989. PepsiCo buys Smith's and murders it. Not quickly, slowly. First they merge it with Walker's. Then they phase out the Smith's brand. By the 1990s, Smith's exists only as sub-brands. Chipsticks, Frazzles, remnants, the little blue salt bag, gone. That choice, that ritual, that moment of childhood autonomy, deleted. They kept the Smith's name in Australia. Australia, the country that invented Smith's crisps, can't buy Smith's crisps. But Australians can. There's a metaphor there somewhere about what happened to British industry, but I'm too angry to find it. Someone on eBay is selling a 1960s Smith's crisps packet, empty, for £75. We're literally buying back our emptiness. Smith's crisps with the little blue salt bag wasn't just a crisp. It was the last time we had control over something, even if that something was just how salty we wanted our crisps. PepsiCo took that away, gave us ready salted, decided for us, like they decided Tudor had to die, like they decided Monster Munch should shrink, like they decided we didn't deserve choice. But we remember. We remember the little blue bag. We remember Tudor. We remember them all, because they might have vanished from corner shops, but they'll never vanish from us. So that's 10 British crisps that vanished, but I know I've missed your favourite. What crisp haunts your memories? Which discontinued flavour keeps you awake at night? Drop it in the comments below. Share this with someone who remembers when crisps were an adventure, when every packet was different, when corner shops mattered. And if you want more content about the Britain we lost, the one where companies were local, where choice meant something, where a packet of crisps could define your identity, hit subscribe. We just recently made a video called 15 British Drinks That Vanished from Corner Shops. We're sure you'll love it. Until then, check the back of your cupboards. You might have history hiding in there, even if it's 50 years past its sell-by date. If you remember walking into a British corner shop in the 1970s or 80s and seeing those enormous glass jars lined up behind the counter like treasure waiting to be unlocked, you'll know exactly what we're about to explore. This isn't about sweets that vanished. Most of these are still around today, sitting in plastic bags on supermarket shelves. What's gone forever is something far more precious. The ritual itself. The weighing, the waiting, the white paper bags, the sound of boiled sweets cascading into brass Avery scales while you watched the needle settle. That entire world has disappeared, and with it, a piece of British childhood that nearly half of us say we miss more than almost anything else. Today, we're stepping back into that lost world. 10 sweets that were in virtually every corner shop jar. And by number 3, you'll be transported straight back to a time when pocket money was counted in pennies, shopkeepers knew your name, and that white paper bag in your hand meant freedom. Number 10, rosy apples. We're starting with one of the most beautiful sweets ever created. Rosy apples were perfect spheres, with a gradient from deep red at the top, fading to yellow at the bottom, just like a real apple with a rosy blush. When light caught those spheres through the glass, they glowed. These were traditional hard-boiled sweets, requiring 15 to 20 minutes of dedicated sucking. The taste was what set them apart. A fresh, tangy apple flavour that was genuinely balanced, a little sweet, a little tart, like biting actual fruit. Parents actually approved when you pointed at the rosy apples jar, which was rare enough to be noteworthy. Many remember the debates. Which end do you suck first, the red or the yellow? These were the philosophical questions of the 1970s childhood. Rosy apples represented a time when simple fruit flavours could compete with chocolate, when an apple-flavoured sweet felt like a genuine treat. They're still available today from manufacturers like Stockley's, but in a pre-packaged bag, they're just sweets. In that glass jar behind the counter, catching the light, they were something else entirely. Number 9, sweet tobacco. Here was a sweet that gave you a thrill of danger just by buying it. Sweet tobacco, also called Spanish gold, looked like actual pipe tobacco. Long shreds of pale brown coconut, heavily coated in dark cocoa powder, tangled in the jar. The texture was thick, moist strands with a slight chew. The cocoa powder gave an initial dry sensation before the coconut oil released underneath, creating a rich, fudge-like mouthfeel. The taste was sweet coconut meeting cocoa, basically a deconstructed Bounty bar. But here's what really defined it: that cocoa coating left dusty brown residue all over your fingers. That was the point. You could pretend you'd been smoking, hold the strands between your fingers like a cigarette. You had visible proof. This was the era when tobacco was normalised everywhere. Fathers smoked pipes in the living room, so mimicking smoking seemed like harmless fun, just playing at being grown up. Looking back, it seems mad. Children's sweets designed to look like tobacco. But that's what makes sweet tobacco powerful as a memory trigger. It represents how far attitudes have shifted. What was playful pretend is now deeply uncomfortable. Number 8, coconut mushrooms. While most sweets were simple spheres or cubes, coconut mushrooms were miniature sculptures, distinctive mushroom shapes with beige-brown caps, covered in desiccated coconut and smooth white fondant stalks. The experience was completely different from hard-boiled sweets. The cap was chewy, almost marshmallow-like. The coconut coating provided contrast, slightly rough and furry against the smooth fondant stalk that tasted of vanilla and condensed milk. Together, the flavours evoked Bounty bars and beach holidays. Here's what many remember most: the decision about how to eat them. Bite the cap off first and save the stalk? Eat them together? Nibble the coconut coating off first. Different children developed different rituals, debating the proper technique in the playground. Unlike rattling hard sweets, coconut mushrooms were soft and yielding, making almost no sound. They felt substantial. One mushroom was a proper treat, not a quick mouthful. The mushroom shape triggered imagination. They were toy-like, playful, inviting interaction rather than passive consumption. Number 7, pineapple cubes. In an era when pineapples were exotic centerpieces, people displayed rather than ate. Pineapple cubes brought tropical sophistication to British corner shops. Bright, sunny yellow cubes dusted with white sugar crystals caught light beautifully through jar glass. Made using traditional copper pan methods, they offered complex texture, hard exterior giving way to slightly chewy center. Each cube lasted 10 to 15 minutes of dedicated sucking. The taste was intensely fruity and summery, but here's the crucial thing. For British 70s palates, this was genuinely exotic. Most of us had never tasted actual fresh pineapple. The bright yellow was cheerful and optimistic, a burst of sunshine in sweet form. The sugar dust coating fingers required licking off, a ritual many remember. You'd be in the back of your dad's cortina, fingers dusty with sugar crystals, each finger getting individually sucked clean. What makes pineapple cubes particularly powerful is what they represented: exotic aspirations of 70s Britain, package holidays to Spain just beginning, pineapples as status symbols, tropical escapism during endless drizzle. They represent democratic exoticism, where tropical sophistication costs just pennies. Number 6, bonbons. At first glance, bonbons looked like innocent pink, white-dusted spheres, but they were hiding a secret. These weren't pure boiled sweets. Bonbons offered something different, a dual texture experience, small and round, heavily coated in icing sugar. When you bit through the hard candy shell, that satisfying crack, you discovered the prize, a firm, chewy toffee center. First the crunch as you broke through, then suddenly your mouth was full of soft, buttery toffee. The taste was intense strawberry throughout the shell. But the real magic happened at the center. Flavor contrast as well as texture. Fruity, sweet shell meeting rich, buttery toffee with caramel notes. In the jar, the sugar coating created muffled rattling, softer than hard-boiled sweets. The two-stage eating made them interactive. Loud initial crunch, then quiet chewing. Unlike marathon sweets lasting half an hour, bonbons were consumed relatively quickly. For those now 45 to 70, bonbons represent accessible sophistication. They had complexity, layers, surprise inside. Many remember the debate: crunch through quickly or suck patiently until the shell dissolved naturally. Number 5, cola cubes. Deep red, translucent, dusted with fine icing sugar, cola cubes looked like little ruby jewels in those glass jars. The cube shape, with sharp edges, created striking geometric display, but beauty came with danger. Cola cubes were rock hard with sharp edges, absolutely notorious for cutting mouths, tongues, and the roof of your mouth. This wasn't marketing exaggeration. These sweets drew blood. Invented in the 40s by Pascal, they delivered authentic cola flavor, the taste of actual cola drinks captured in sugar. The flavor had slight acidic tang, mimicking carbonation, intensifying as the sweet dissolved. The texture was brittle, creating loud crunching if you foolishly bit them. But those sharp edges were genuinely treacherous. Many remember the moment of misjudgment. You think it's dissolved enough to risk a gentle bite. You apply pressure. It cracks. A sharp edge slices your gum. Suddenly there's metallic taste of blood, mixing with cola sweetness. This danger wasn't a drawback, it was part of the appeal. Cola cubes were exciting, slightly risky sweets. Eating one was a small adventure requiring skill and patience. That sharp edge that might cut your mouth was a small price for feeling adventurous. Number 4, mint imperials. Among the kaleidoscope of coloured jars, one stood apart through pure simplicity. Mint imperials were small, perfectly white spheres, creating an almost cloud-like effect. The pristine colour suggested quality, cleanliness, tradition. They went by several names. Mint imperials were standard, but up north and in Scotland, they were Scotch mints, or affectionately, Granny Suckers. The texture offered something unique, a hard outer shell that crumbled into soft, almost powdery interior. The sweet would crumble rather than crack. The taste was intensely minty, pure peppermint oil, creating a take-your-breath-away sensation, a cooling effect that was both refreshing and powerful. These weren't fun sweets. They were serious sweets with practical purpose, breath-freshening. But here's where mint imperials occupy unique nostalgic territory. They're strongly associated with car journeys. Parents kept them in the glove compartment. Many remember the ritual, bored in the back seat during long motorway drives, perhaps feeling queasy from reading a comic, and Mum would produce a mint imperial. The cooling effect was instant relief. This made them simultaneously boring and comforting. Not exciting like cola cubes, they were dependable, sensible, grown-up. The grown-up mint flavour made children feel sophisticated. Number 3, aniseed balls. Here we enter controversial territory. Aniseed balls were, and remain, the most polarising sweet in British confectionery history. There was no middle ground. You either loved them with fierce devotion or absolutely hated them with matching intensity. You were a believer or a heretic. They looked mysterious, almost adult in their jar, dark, glossy, reddish-brown spheres that caught light like polished wooden beads. Dating from 1910, they were miniature gobstoppers with multiple sugar layers built around a rapeseed seed centre. These lasted 20 to 30 minutes when properly sucked, providing extraordinary value. The texture journey took you through gradually dissolving layers until you reached the final reward, that crunchy seed centre. But the defining characteristic was the intensely strong aniseed flavour from pure aniseed oil, medicinal, herbal, aromatic. This was not subtle. The taste was aggressive and uncompromising, tasting more like medicine than confectionery. The smell was equally powerful, dominating any mixed bag. When that jar opened, the aniseed smell filled the shop. This made them a dare sweet among children. Could you finish one? Could you keep it in your mouth longest? Boys particularly treated them as tests of endurance and toughness. The glossy, dark appearance and strong taste made them seem adult. Aniseed balls were strongly associated with grandfathers who'd grown up when strong flavours were normal. When your granddad offered you one from his pocket, you knew you were being tested. Could you handle proper sweets? In 2009, The Telegraph ran a poll for Britain's favourite childhood sweet. Aniseed balls won. This caused enormous controversy because half the country couldn't believe anyone actually liked them. Comments exploded with people claiming the vote must have been rigged, but the believers rallied in defence, insisting aniseed balls represented proper sweets from when children's tastes weren't constantly pandered to. In an age of focus-grouped products designed to offend nobody, aniseed balls stand as relics of when sweets could be challenging. Whether you loved or hated them, they demanded a response. Number 2, rhubarb and custards. If any sweet captured British culinary heritage in boiled sugar form, it was rhubarb and custards. The perfectly split, half-and-half colours created one of the most cheerful displays behind counterglass. Vibrant pink meeting sunny yellow in a clean line. These Victorian-era sweets evoked the classic British dessert they were named after, bringing proper pudding flavours into children's pockets. This wasn't abstract fruit flavouring. This was attempting to recreate an actual dish every child knew from school dinners and Sunday lunches. The fact it existed as a sweet felt like getting away with something. The hard-boiled version was a sooky sweet, requiring extended sucking that could last for ages. But the dual flavour experience was sophisticated. Tangy, slightly sour rhubarb met sweet, vanilla-like custard in a mouth-watering blend that tasted comforting rather than aggressive. When properly sucked, the flavours merged in your mouth, creating that pudding taste. Some versions let you taste them separately by carefully rotating the sweet, trying to isolate pink from yellow. This created technique debates. Do you try keeping flavours separate as long as possible, or deliberately merge them immediately? The visual was striking. Those jars of pink and yellow spheres created sunny, optimistic display, suggesting summer days and Sunday dinners. The cheerful colours evoked bright, hopeful 70s aesthetic. The sweet-tart balance made them genuinely Moorish. One was never enough. You'd finish one and immediately want another because the flavour was so satisfying, so reminiscent of proper pudding. The nostalgic power is profound. Rhubarb and custards strongly evoke memories of Sunday dinners when families sat together. School dinners where rhubarb and custard pudding was actually served, usually lukewarm with suspicious stringy bits, but you ate it anyway. There was something properly British about them. Rhubarb and custard isn't French or American. It's uniquely British, born from making the best of what grows in our climate. Comfort food that transcended class boundaries. The debate about eating technique reflects something about British character. We take small pleasures seriously. We develop elaborate philosophies about trivial things. This isn't frivolous. It's about finding meaning in small rituals. Number 1. Pear drops. We've reached the king of jar sweets, the absolute icon of British corner shop confectionery. If you close your eyes and imagine a traditional sweet jar, chances are you're seeing pear drops. The dual-toned teardrops, half sunshine yellow and half candy pink, created one of the most visually arresting displays in any sweet shop. Victorian in origin, attributed to Edward Sharp of York in the late 1800s, these were rock-hard boiled sweets, requiring 15 to 20 minutes of patient sucking. The distinctive sugar dusting made them shimmer through the glass, creating an almost magical effect visible from across the shop. But what made pear drops truly unforgettable was that intensely artificial pear flavour, isoamyl acetate and ethyl acetate esters, the same compounds that create banana flavouring, giving an unexpectedly tropical undertone. The flavour was aggressive, uncompromising, chemical in the best possible way. Roald Dahl described them as having an exciting and dangerous flavour, capturing their almost confrontational intensity perfectly. The smell was penetrating and unmistakable. Sweet, fruity, with an acetone-like quality reminiscent of nail polish remover that filled corner shops. When that jar opened, everyone knew. The pear drop smell announced your purchase to everyone within 20 feet. The texture journey was pure alchemy. Beginning glassy hard, they gradually dissolved. But unlike most boiled sweets, pear drops developed increasingly sharp edges as they dissolved. These edges could genuinely cut your mouth. You had to remain vigilant, rotating the sweet with your tongue, respecting its potential for injury. In jars, they created a hard, rattling, clinking symphony when disturbed, like tiny church bells made of sugar. When they cascaded into the brass scales, each one clinked against the metal, creating satisfying percussion. For those now aged 45 to 70, pear drops represent the first grown-up sweet. Not chocolate for children, not jelly sweets, which were childish, but proper boiled sweets requiring patience and endurance. The intensity of flavour made a statement. Eating, one announced you wanted full-strength, no-compromise sweetness. They were a power move in the playground sweet hierarchy. The danger element was real. Many have childhood memories of letting it dissolve too far without paying attention, and suddenly there was sharp pain and metallic taste of blood mixing with artificial pear. You'd learned respect for the sweet the hard way. What makes pear drops our number one is how they embody everything about the corner shop jar: sweet experience, the visual beauty through glass, the sensory assault of smell, the texture journey requiring patience, the intensity demanding respect, the potential for injury. They represented democracy and aspiration simultaneously. Anyone could afford them with pocket money, but eating one properly required skill, patience, sophistication. They were the sweet that made you feel grown up, while still being fundamentally childish, which is exactly what you needed when you were 9 years old with sixpence in your pocket and your whole future ahead of you. The ritual we lost. You can still buy every single sweet we've discussed, but that's not what we've lost. What vanished was the ritual. The glass jars behind the counter, the cascade of sweets into the Avery scales, that sound, unique to each sweet. The shopkeeper adding or removing individual sweets to hit exact weight, the white paper bag folded, no tape. Coins exchanged. It wasn't just a transaction, it was your first experience of economic sovereignty. That paper bag was proof of your autonomy. Between 1970 and 2010, 60% of Britain's corner shops vanished. When Woolworths closed in 2009, it was the symbolic death of an entire culture. 46% of adults who grew up in the 70s and 80s say trips to corner shops for penny sweets are among their most missed childhood experiences. We're not mourning sweets, we're mourning autonomy, walking alone with coins in your pocket. Sensory richness, smells and sounds that will never exist again. Community, the shopkeeper who knew your name. Simplicity, before childhood required constant supervision. We can't recreate it. The original required innocence, not knowing this world would vanish. What remains are the taste memories. Aniseed balls is intensity, pear drops is chemical assault, sugar dust on fingers, the jingle of doorbells. Those glass jars represented a world where childhood meant freedom, where pleasure cost pennies and tasted of artificial pear flavouring. What was your corner shop called? What sweet did you always choose? Share your memories in the comments, because soon there'll be nobody left who remembers when sweets came in jars and childhood tasted of freedom. If you were standing in a British corner shop in 1981, you could buy crisps that tasted like hedgehogs. I'm not making this up. In fact, the Office of Fair Trading took the manufacturer to court over it. But that legal battle was just one small part of Britain's maddest food experiment. A 2-decade period when snack companies lost their collective minds, and we, the British public, bought every single bizarre creation they threw at us. 10 bizarre British snacks that shocked the 70s and 80s, including one that parents genuinely believed would make their children's stomachs explode. Number 10. Tudor's Chocolate Crisps. Let's start with something that sounds like it should have worked, but absolutely didn't. Tudor's chocolate-flavoured crisps. Now, Tudor wasn't some fly-by-night operation. Based in Newcastle, they were Smith's experimental laboratory, the place where the wildest ideas got tested on the British public. Their pickled onion crisps were legendary, so strong they'd make your eyes water 3 aisles away in Woolworths. But in the late 70s, someone at Tudor had what they thought was genius idea: chocolate-flavoured potato crisps. Picture this: you're on the Newcastle Metro in 1979. You open a packet of what looks like normal crisps, and suddenly your mouth is filled with the taste of sweet chocolate mixed with fried potato. Passengers reported they almost caused vomiting. Not exaggerating. That's an actual quote from someone who tried them. The crisps came in a brown packet with swirling chocolate graphics, sitting right next to the salt and vinegar on the shelf. The smell when you opened them was confused, like someone had accidentally dropped a dairy milk into the deep fat fryer at the chippy. The texture was wrong. The taste was wrong. Everything about them was wrong. Tudor also tried kipper-flavoured crisps in purple packets with cartoon fish, hot dog and mustard, and even haggis crisps in tartan bags. They threw everything at the wall to see what would stick. Most of it slid straight off. By 2003, Walker's had absorbed the brand completely. But here's what matters. Tudor was willing to fail spectacularly in pursuit of something new. Can you imagine Walker's launching chocolate crisps today? Their shareholders would have a heart attack. Number 9. Piglet's Crisps. Burton's Foods created Piglets in the early 80s. And if you remember these, you probably remember the disappointment more than the taste. These were meant to be 3-dimensional pig-shaped potato puffs. Hollow, incredibly fragile, and theoretically adorable. They came in smoky bacon, which made sense, pickled onion, bit odd for a pig, and baked beans flavour, which was just bizarre when you think about it. Pigs that tasted like beans. The fundamental problem was physics. The potato flour dough was nearly impossible to get right. Too little time in the fryer and they were soggy. Too long and they turned into blackened pig-shaped charcoal. But even when they got it right at the factory, by the time you bought a packet from the newsagent, you were basically purchasing pig-flavoured dust. Remember that anticipation? You'd carefully open the packet, hoping this time you'd find intact little piggies. Instead, you'd peer inside to find what looked like the aftermath of a farmyard explosion. Occasionally, you'd find a single intact pig amongst the casualties, and it felt like winning the pools. The last confirmed sighting was at a Padstow Caravan Park corner shop in 1987. Someone recently started a petition to bring them back, which has about 500 signatures from people who've clearly forgotten that they never actually worked in the first place. But that's nostalgia for you, isn't it? We remember the idea of piglets more than the reality. The perfect little pigs that existed on the packet, not the fragments we actually ate. Now, those first 2 were failures of execution, but what I'm about to show you at number 8 was a failure of common sense that ended up in court. And it connects to our number 3 in a way that reveals something quite dark about British food innovation in this era. Number 8. Hedgehog-flavoured crisps. In 1981, Philip Lewis, a pub landlord from Wales, launched what might be the most controversial crisp flavour in British history: hedgehog. Lewis had been joking with his regulars about creating exotic flavours when someone mentioned the old gypsy tradition of baking hedgehogs in clay. Instead of laughing it off like a normal person, Lewis thought, brilliant, let's do that. He partnered with Hedgehog Foods Limited, and they actually manufactured crisps that tasted like, and I quote, pork fat mixed with herbs. The packets showed a cartoon hedgehog and promised to let you savour all the flavour of traditional country fare. The Office of Fair Trading immediately sued him. Their argument: you can't call something hedgehog flavoured without actual hedgehog meat in it. Especially problematic since hedgehogs were protected under the Wildlife and Countryside Act. Here's where it gets brilliant. Lewis commissioned Wolverhampton Polytechnic to interview actual gypsies who'd eaten hedgehog and create an artificial flavouring based on their descriptions. Then he changed the name from hedgehog flavoured to hedgehog flavour. Dropping the ed meant he didn't need any actual hedgehog. Billy Connolly endorsed them. The international media went mad for them. By 1991, the company had sales of £3.6 million. They even supported hedgehog conservation charities, turning potential outrage into positive publicity. The crisps disappeared in 1994 when Lewis sold to Benson's Crisp Company. Original packets now sell for £30 on eBay. £30 for an empty crisp packet. That's more than most people spent on crisps in an entire year back then. Number 7. Transform a snack. Golden Wonder looked at children playing with their food and thought, what if we encourage that? Transform a snack was corn snacks shaped as car parts, chassis, wheels, spoilers that kids could theoretically assemble into edible vehicles before eating them. Each packet had instructions showing how to build your car. It was meant to combine play value with snacking. The reality? Picture a 7-year-old with greasy fingers trying to balance a corn chip wheel on a corn chip axle while their mum shouted about getting crumbs on the carpet. Most kids just ate the pieces immediately. The ones who did try to build something ended up with what looked like a car crash made of crisps. Parents complained about the mess. Teachers banned them from packed lunches after kids started having Transformer snack races during break time. The shapes compromised the actual eating experience. Ever tried to eat a wheel? Your mouth isn't designed for it. Within 2 years, they'd vanished. Golden Wonder quietly pretended they'd never existed. But here's what's telling. This was Golden Wonder at their desperate peak, trying anything to compete with Walker's growing dominance. They'd gone from market leaders in the 60s to throwing car part-shaped corn snacks at the wall. It's actually quite sad when you think about it. The company that invented cheese and onion flavour, that revolutionised British snacking, reduced to making edible toy cars. But if you think Transformer snack was Golden Wonder's rock bottom, wait until you hear about Rock and Roller Crisps. First though, let me tell you about the snack that literally changed its name because parents thought it was drugs. Number 6. Space Dust. 1978. General Foods launches Space Dust in Britain. Powdered sweets that fizzed and popped in your mouth, available in Galactic Grape, Cosmic Cherry, and Orbiting Orange. Within months, urban legends spread that consuming space dust with Coca-Cola would cause your stomach to explode. Not just upset your tummy, actually explode. Parents believed that little Mikey from the Life cereal adverts had died from eating 6 packets and washing them down with Coke. He hadn't. He was fine, but the rumours persisted. The FDA, the American FDA, mind you, had to set up a special hotline in Seattle just to reassure parents. General Foods sent the inventor, William Mitchell, on speaking tours. They published full-page newspaper ads with Mitchell's home address, so concerned parents could write to him personally. Then came the drug panic. Parents complained that space dust sounded too similar to angel dust, street slang for an illegal drug. Imagine explaining to your kid why they couldn't have space dust anymore. No, darling, it sounds like drugs. But Mummy, it's just fizzy sweets. Yes, but Mrs. Henderson from number 42 thinks it's corrupting you. General Foods renamed it Cosmic Candy, but the damage was done. Scientific studies proved the sweets contained less CO2 than half a can of fizzy drink. Didn't matter, the combination of explosion fears and drug associations killed it. By 1982, space dust had vanished from British shops forever. The irony? Pop Rocks, which was essentially the same thing but in larger chunks, survived. Sometimes it's not about the product, it's about the name and the timing. Number 5. Horror bags. Now we're getting to the truly legendary stuff. Smith's. Horror bags launched in late 1974 when Frank Thornton, Captain Peacock from Are You Being Served?, dressed as a comedy vampire to advertise crisps. The range included fangs, cheese and onion flavour shaped like vampire teeth. And yes, you could wear them. You'd pop them in your mouth, smile at your mates and look like a budget Dracula. Then you had bones in salt and vinegar, claws in bacon, ribs in vinegar and bats in bat burger flavour, whatever that was supposed to be. The bones were notorious. The vinegar intensity was described as like sulfuric acid and enough to jumpstart a V12 Jaguar. Kids would dare each other to eat entire packets without water. Your eyes would stream, your nose would run, and you'd go back for more. It was British masochism in snack form. The tabloids went mental. These horror snacks are corrupting our children, teaching kids to celebrate monsters. Smiths diplomatically responded that it's good for children to be on fun terms with things that frighten them. £4 million in revenue their first year. Then discontinued in the early 80s to make way for Monster Munch, which was basically the same concept but less interesting. Original horror bags packets now sell for £10 to £30 on eBay. Empty packets. That's how much we miss the weird stuff. We'll pay 30 quid for the memory of vinegar, so strong it could strip paint. Number 4, Texan bars. Right, this is where it gets personal for everyone who lived through this era. The Texan bar. Roan Tree Macintosh launched it in 1973 with the slogan, "Sure is a mighty chew." And they weren't joking. This wasn't marketing hyperbole. The Texan bar was a workout for your jaw, nougat and toffee covered in chocolate, wrapped in that distinctive gold wrapper with stars and stripes. The TV adverts showed cartoon cowboys literally unable to bite through them. You'd see kids in the playground gnawing on them for entire lunch breaks. Your jaw would actually ache afterward. But here's the thing, we loved them for it. In an era before health and safety gone mad, when playground equipment was made of concrete and rust, a chocolate bar that could potentially dislocate your jaw was perfectly normal. Discontinued in 1984, but in 2004, 20 years later, a survey rated it Britain's favourite sweet of all time. A chocolate bar that hadn't existed for 2 decades was still our favourite. Nestlé brought it back briefly in 2005, but the comeback lasted months. Modern Britain didn't have the jaw strength anymore. The Texan bar represents something we've lost, not just a chocolate bar, but an acceptance that some things should be difficult, that the struggle was part of the pleasure. Today's snacks are engineered for immediate gratification. The Texan made you work for it. Number 3. Tudor gammon and pineapple crisps. Back to Tudor for their absolute maddest moment. Gammon and pineapple flavoured crisps. For those too young to remember, gammon and pineapple was the height of sophistication in 1970s Britain. You'd see it at Burney Inn, with a glacé cherry on top if you were really posh. It was exotic, Hawaiian even, despite having nothing to do with Hawaii. Tudor looked at this culinary trend and thought, let's make that into a crisp. The packet was yellow and pink, with a cartoon pig wearing a Hawaiian lei. The crisps themselves smelled sweet and meaty simultaneously, like someone had dissolved a tin of pineapple chunks in ham stock. The taste started savoury, then went sweet, then back to savoury, then left you questioning everything. They lasted less than a year. Even in an era when we'd try anything, gammon and pineapple crisps were too much. It was the crisp equivalent of putting a doily on your television, trying too hard to be sophisticated and ending up ridiculous. But what this reveals, and this connects back to our hedgehog crisps, is that manufacturers were literally turning anything into crisp flavours. If it existed as food, someone tried to make it into a crisp. Roast dinner? Yes. Breakfast? Absolutely. Pudding? Why not? We were living through the Cambrian explosion of crisp evolution, and most of the mutations didn't survive. Number 2. Aztec bars. Cadbury's Aztec bar was their declaration of war on Mars. Launched in 1967, discontinued in 1978, it was 11 years of expensive failure. Nougat and caramel covered in Cadbury chocolate, wrapped in deep purple. Cadbury filmed advertisements in actual Aztec temples. They put cardboard warrior cutouts in supermarkets. They priced it half a penny cheaper than a Mars bar. They threw everything at it, and it failed completely. The Aztec represents corporate hubris. Cadbury assumed they could muscle into Mars's territory through sheer force of will and marketing spend. They couldn't. The British public had decided Mars was their nougat and caramel bar. The Aztec was an imposter, regardless of its ancient temple advertising. They tried to revive it as Aztec 2000 during the millennium. Failed again within months. Some things are just meant to stay dead. What's poignant is that Cadbury never really recovered from this in the nougat market. They retreated to what they knew: dairy, milk, roses, solid chocolate. The Aztec failure defined their boundaries. Even chocolate giants can't win every battle. Number 1. Skydivers, crisps. And finally, the most bizarre, the most sought after, the most expensive empty crisp packet in existence. Skydivers. Corn snacks shaped like parachutists with arms and legs spread wide. That's it. That's the concept. Little skydivers you could eat. Nobody remembers who made them or exactly when. Early 80s probably. What we do know is that an original 6-pence packet recently sold on eBay for £173. That's a 2,883% increase. Better returns than property. The shapes were impossible. Fragile limbs that broke if you looked at them wrong. The flavour was unremarkable. They vanished without fanfare. But that packet selling for £173 tells us something profound. We don't miss the snacks themselves. We miss the world that created them. A world where someone could say, what if we made crisps shaped like skydivers? And someone else would say, brilliant, here's £50,000, make it happen. A world before focus groups and risk assessments and health warnings, when British snack innovation was completely mental, and we loved it for that. Those 10 bizarre snacks represent more than failed products. They're artifacts from Britain's last truly experimental era, when we emerged from post-war austerity ready to try anything. Before the E-number panic of 1985 shut down innovation. Before multinational corporations made every decision based on spreadsheets and focus groups. We were the generation that survived space dust, chewed through Texan bars, and wore fangs to school. The last generation to experience truly dangerous snacks. Now, here's what I want to know. What bizarre snack from this era have I missed? What strange creation do you remember that nobody else seems to recall? Drop it in the comments below. And more specifically, did anyone actually manage to build a complete car from Transformer snack? Because I'm starting to think that was physically impossible. If you like this video, be sure to check out some of our other videos. Until then, keep those memories alive and have a fabulous day. 6 pence. That's what it cost to be somebody in 1975. These are 5 more British crisps that vanished from corner shops. And number 3, we literally couldn't stop eating them. Before Walkers dominated every shelf. Before crisps came in foil bags. Before your corner shop became a Tesco Express. There were crisps that defined us. Number 5. Phileas Fogg, Mignon Morceau. And if you can pronounce that without sounding pretentious, you were definitely the target market. March 1982. 4 blokes down the pub in Consett, County Durham, had an idea. What if we made crisps for adults? Sophisticated crisps. Premium crisps. Crisps you'd eat with wine, not Tizer. Roger McKechnie, Keith Gill, Ray McGee and John Pike started with 67,000 quid in a portable cabin on Medhamsley Road. Within 5 years, they were turning over £30 million annually. £30 million. From a cabin in County Durham. But here's what made Phileas Fogg unforgettable. The advertising, Bartle Bogle. Heggarty created mini-movies. Monty Python meets around the world in 80 days. French Foreign Legion soldiers. Big Al flying from New York. Exotic locations, dramatic music, beautiful cinematography. And then the punchline, made in Medemsley Road, Consett. That one line, that brilliant, beautiful, working-class punchline, made Phileas Fogg iconic. Now, the mignon more so. These weren't crisps. They were tiny slices of bread, sautéed with garlic. The texture? Dead crunchy. Light, airy, like eating garlicky clouds. But the garlic! Oh, the garlic! So intensely garlicky that everyone at the dinner party had to eat them. One person with garlic breath? Antisocial? Everyone with garlic breath? A good night. The foil packet rustled differently from regular crisp bags. Heavier, premium. The back of the packet had letters home. My dearest Aunt Agatha. Signed by Phileas himself. Each packet told a story. You'd find them in Marks and Spencer, Waitrose. Petrol stations in the late 80s, back when petrol stations sold sophistication, not Ginster's pasties. They created tortilla chips in Britain. Nearly a decade before Doritos arrived, they invented the premium adult snack category that made millions for brands that came after. United Biscuits bought them for $24 million in 1993, then slowly killed them. Corporate machine, lost love, chopped and changed packaging. By 2009, turnover collapsed to just £101,000. They vanished around 2016. Facebook groups formed, petitions circulated, nothing worked. The closest thing now? Waitrose garlic croutons. But devotees say nothing comes close. We traded Medemsley Road, Consett for nothing. But Phileas Fogg was premium. Adult, sophisticated. Number 4 takes us back to the real playground. To when 6p bought you everything. To when ring-shaped crisps actually meant something. Number 4, Ringos. And here's a fact that'll surprise you. Ringos came before hula hoops. 1972, Golden Wonder launched Ringos, ring-shaped wheat and potato crisps. A full year before hula hoops copied them in 1973. We all think hula hoops came first. They didn't. Ringos were the originals, the pioneers, the ring snack that should have won. They were about the size of a 10p piece. Hollow circles. The texture? Somewhere between a hula hoop and a quaver. Flaky, left bits everywhere. Your mum found crumbs in your blazer pocket 3 weeks later. But what defined Ringos was the flavouring. Salt and vinegar made your eyes water. Real bite. Lip-tingling intensity. Cheese and onion tasted properly of cheese, not the ghost of cheese. Actual cheese flavour. They cost 6p in the 70s. 6p. When first-class postage was 3p and a pint cost 14, 6p bought you playground status. The slogan, "No Ringo goes like a Ringo goes." The adverts featured 2 cartoon cavemen. Free transfers of these cavemen came in the packets when they launched. Kids collected them, swapped them, built entire caveman empires on bedroom walls. You bought them from school tuck shops, corner shops on the way home, swimming pool vending machines after you'd done your width and nearly drowned. A packet of Ringos made everything better. The paper packet, not foil paper, rustled differently. You'd open it in the playground and everyone knew what you had. Here's what kids did with Ringos. Wore them on fingers before eating. Made Ringo sandwiches, literally putting crisps in bread, because why wouldn't you? Competed to find the biggest or smallest ring. Finding large clumps of flavouring powder was considered lucky. They vanished in the mid-80s to early 90s. Before foil bags became standard, they came back around 2011. Tato bought Golden Wonder and relaunched them with the original 1980s recipes. The reaction? Devastating. The texture was all wrong, and as for the flavour, I'd rather lick the inside of my bin. They'd changed, become thinner, more quaver than hula hoop. The salt and vinegar was wrong. The magic was gone. You can still buy them in Poundland, Iceland. They exist, but they're not Ringos. Not really, they're nostalgia packaged in disappointment. Speaking of disappointing comebacks, number 3 had everything. A massive brand behind it, millions in advertising, celebrity endorsements, Saturday morning television, and it still died twice. Number 3. What's It's Wafflers. The waffle-shaped extension that promised everything and delivered confusion. May 2000. Golden Wonder launches Wafflers with a £1.5 million campaign. The slogan, big, crunchy and waffle-shaped. The advert, Willie Whatsit and his girlfriend Peaches walk into a New York diner. Mobsters are having a knuckle-cracking contest, playing a tune with their creaks and crunches. Then Willie bites a waffler. Crunch. deafening. Every gangster turns around. The first What's-It snack with a big crunch. Here's what made them special. The grid pattern. Waffle-shaped lattice with multiple crunchy edges. Bigger than regular What's-Its. More structured, more architectural. But they still melted in your mouth. Light, fluffy, like differently shaped frazzles, but cheesier. The texture was perfect. The shape was brilliant. Kids loved them. Then Walker's bought the What's-Its brand in 2003 for £150 million. They relaunched Wafflers with £2 million. Sponsored SMTV Live, Saturday morning television, the holy grail of child marketing. They tied in with Robot Wars, Ant and Dec's Golden Shootout for the 2002 World Cup. They even sold them at 60 McDonald's restaurants in southwest England. Everything was going right. And then they vanished. Quietly discontinued between 2003 and 2012. But here's where it gets weird. August 2012. They bring them back. Bacon flavour only. One flavour. Testing the waters. People were cautiously optimistic. Maybe the magic would return. Maybe Wafflers could reclaim their throne. May 2013. They rebrand them. Dropped the What's-Its name entirely. Now they're just Wafflers. Under the Smith's brand. Stripping the What's-Its name was corporate suicide. Nobody knew what Wafflers were without the orange badge of honour. Sales collapsed. 2015. Gone. Properly gone. 2 years after losing their identity. You can still find them occasionally in Poundland. Bacon-flavoured ghosts haunting discount shelves. But they're not the cheesy lattice of 2000. They're something else. Something nobody asked for. What's-Its Wafflers died because marketing departments forgot. You can't strip nostalgia of its name and expect love to remain. We wanted big, crunchy, waffle-shaped cheese. We got bacon-flavoured confusion. But Wafflers lasted just 15 years total. Number 2 lasted 45. 45 years of being everywhere, and then overnight, gone. Number 2, Burton's Potato Puffs. 45 years of tuck shop dominance. Gone in 2004. Burton's launches Potato Puffs. Light, curved tubes of crispy fried potatoes, the first snack of its kind, smooth with an edge running round them, airy, fluffy. Completely different from regular crisps. They cost 3 old pence in the 60s. 3 pence. By the 70s, 2 pence. By the 90s, 10 pence. For 45 years, they were the affordable constant in British childhoods. The slogan, puffed to perfection. And they were 6 flavours, ready salted in red bags, salt and vinegar in blue, beef in brown, everyone's favourite, cheese and onion, tomato sauce that left red fingers, chicken. But here's what made Potato Puffs legendary, how you ate them. You smashed up the bag, just crushed it in your hands, turned those light tubes into crumbs, then poured the crumbs directly into your mouth. This wasn't bad manners, this was the ritual. This was the authentic Potato Puffs experience. Your mum finding crushed packets in your blazer pocket. Evidence of the ceremony. The 1971 to 72 Jigsaw campaign was genius. Cut tokens from packets. Send them off. Get a jigsaw puzzle of Great Britain. Kids traded tokens in the playground, negotiated swaps, built entire social hierarchies around who had the most pieces. Potato Puffs followed you everywhere. School tuck shops, corner shops on the way home, youth clubs, Cub Scouts, swimming pools, everywhere kids congregated. Potato Puffs ruled, multi-generational. Baby boomers introduced them to Gen X. Gen X shared them with millennials. 3 generations united by light. Airy tubes you smashed to perfection. Gone. Burton's official statement, they exited mainstream savoury snacks due to the highly competitive nature of the market. Their focus shifted to sweet biscuits and premium savoury under the Bertolli license. Translation, Walkers won. PepsiCo's billions crushed Burton's. The plant where they were made shut down. 45 years of tradition sacrificed for corporate strategy. Facebook groups formed, bring back Burton's Potato Puffs. Forum threads spanning years. Devoted fans emailing Burton's directly. Nothing worked. In 2014, Burton's relaunched fish and chips due to nostalgia demand. Potato Puffs fans saw hope. Maybe their turn was coming, it never came. Burton's remains firm, no plans for reintroduction. We traded 45 years of smashed bags and red tomato fingers for nothing. So that's 4 crisps. Phileas Fogg, too sophisticated for its own good. Ringo's came first, lost anyway. Wafflers, stripped of identity. Potato Puffs. 45 years wasn't enough, but number 1? Number 1 breaks every rule, because number 1 never vanished at all. Number 1, Tangy Toms. And here's the twist, they never vanished. Tangy Toms are still here, still on sale. Iceland, Co-op, Tesco. Right now, today. You could buy them tomorrow, but nobody knows. Because their golden age was the 1980s, when they cost 5 pence. When they followed you from tuck shop, to Cub Scouts, to youth club. Little spherical balls, tomato-flavoured corn puffs with mouth-puckering tang. That distinctive tongue-tingling flavour from citric acid, real tomato powder and MSG. Totally tasty, tongue-tingling tomato flavour snacks. Kids hunted for the balls with the most tomato powder, shook bags, looked through packets. Finding a heavily coated one was treasure, and because they were perfect spheres, you could throw them at friends in the dinner hall, play table football with them. 5 pence bought you snack, toy, and ammunition. Golden Wonder made them. The company that gave us Ringo's. They survived bankruptcy in 2006, survived the Tato acquisition, survived everything. They're still here, but their invisibility is the real vanishing. When corner shops became chains, when tuck shops closed, when 5 pence became meaningless, when playground culture moved online, Tangy Toms didn't vanish from shelves, they vanished from memory. You can buy them today. Walk into Iceland tomorrow and they're there. Same spherical balls, same tongue-tingling tang. But the Tangy Toms, you remember, cost 5 pence from a corner shop run by someone who knew your name. You ate them with mates who'd throw them at your head. The product survived. The experience vanished. And maybe that's what all of this means. Phileas Fogg from Medomsley Road concept. Ringo's that came first, but lost. What's its wafflers, stripped of identity. Burton's potato puffs after 45 years. Tangy Toms, still breathing but forgotten. These weren't just crisps, they were 6 pence on a Tuesday. Red fingers from tomato powder. The sound of paper bags rustling in playgrounds. Corner shops where people knew you. Tuck shops that opened at break time. The ritual of smashing the bag, the currency of the schoolyard. They were the taste of being somebody when you had nothing but pocket money, and we traded all of it for efficiency. Which one do you remember? Did you wear Ringo's on your fingers? Smash up bags of potato puffs? Hunt for the most garlicky mignon morceau at dinner parties in 1987? Did you know Tangy Toms are still here? Drop your memory in the comments. The ritual, the flavour, the moment. The corner shop that sold them, the price you paid. Because these weren't just crisps, they were who we were, before everything changed, before we forgot what 6 pence could buy. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out another one of our videos. 15 British drinks that vanished from corner shops. We're sure you'll love it.